Good morning. You know, being someone who has been going to lots of churches over many years, I've noticed most churches have smaller attendance on rainy days. And I'm looking out here, and we have more. I don't know what that says about us, whether everybody's just so active, but it's good to see you here. It's good that we can be here to worship together. And you are so welcome. We are all welcome. For this is the place where we gather together and seek God's Spirit. May you be blessed with that breath of God inside of each of you as we worship together this morning. For it is what unites us, whether we are male or female, whether we are old or young, whether we are very abled or hardly abled, whoever we are, as long as we live and we breathe, it's that Spirit that unites us. So settle into that Spirit and give thanks.
Let's stand as you are able and sing Amazing Grace, hymn number 185.
Why
Our Lady of the Garden by Padraig Otuma. All this time, I felt like I had to describe the things I did and what was done to me, how I had to wander a strange world for years, needing to be busy, sleeping in strange beds, searching through cities for chapels to weep in, learning the stitches that keep a ripped heart together for a while. When what I really need to say is that it rained all night and morning, and the drops were a percussion on the trees. And after the sun rose, I saw an insect land on the railing and take shelter, and a bird drank from a leaf. Wild pigs exploded from the bushes where they'd hid, and the sage in the bowl smelt of memory and musk. A toad sat, still as any god, on the wet stone.
We are the Peace and Love Orchestra, and we would like you to sing with us Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream on page 299 of the hymnal. In the hymnal, but it was received here in the yard behind the cemetery. Many years ago when I was walking, a deer bounded out of the cemetery on the road this close in front of me into the forest. And I was stunned and silenced and still. I didn't want to do anything that would scare it. I looked my head as gently as I could, and there were her two babies in the forest on the left. And I've never done this before, but I said, "Creative Spirit, give me something that would tell them they don't need to be afraid of me." And I stood there for a second. The dad deer came out with his rack on top of his head, and they looked at me, and I had not moved a muscle. And I opened my mouth, and this came out. "I share the world with you. You share the world with me. I can see the light in you. Can you see the light in me?" A song, a 4-line song came out of my body from the divine creative spirit. And I just kept singing it over and over, and they walked closer and closer and closer to me. I couldn't believe it. It's my most supernatural experience. 20 minutes later, I got back to my car after singing till I was almost hoarse. They're just eating. And I came back to my car, quickly wrote it down in the notes in my head from being a piano player, and shared it with my group of ukulele players. And David Myers wrote 6 more verses. So you have them printed in the bulletin if you want to sing along, but you may certainly just listen.
Thank you. Woo. That's a little bit of a bucket list for me, y'all. I've been hearing about the Peace and Love Orchestra since I got here, and we have finally succeeded in corralling you. So thank you. And we'll need to make sure we know all of your names when we get to the introductions at the end of our gathering. But I know that we are completely delighted to see CH back in the meeting room on the facing bench. We are very glad you were here. I came in this morning when they were setting up, and we did a little dance over here. I think Andy might have gotten a picture of that. I don't know. I saw some. It was exciting to be here, and you feel that energy too. I agree with you, Marcy. I said to somebody this morning, well, you know, it's a great day to stay home with a cup of tea and watch. I mean, I'm going to be here, but I didn't know that all you would be here. And I couldn't be happier that each one of you are here. And I haven't made eye contact with everybody, but I'm going to try. So don't be scared if I look at you directly in the eye. If you want a name for this prepared message, it is the Lord's Prayer and Radiant Connection, or Identity Part 2. If you weren't here for Identity Part 1, it's okay. And you may not even know you were here for Identity Part 1 if you were. But I'm just telling you, this is how my brain is thinking, how Spirit is moving. I was preparing recently to visit someone in the hospital. And Deborah Seuss, my mentor and our visitation pastor, let me know that this person might ask for a vocal prayer. Not unusual in such circumstances, but not a well-practiced part of my wheelhouse. So I clenched. And then I breathed. And then I wondered out loud, how about the Lord's Prayer? And in perfect Deborah Seuss fashion, she said, that would be perfect. Matthew 6, 9-13. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespassers, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. I like memorization, and I feel comfortable and comforted by that familiar rhythm of the Lord's Prayer. It's in my bones. But what about some of those words? The gendered God language, and the temptation and the evil parts. And what does any of it have to do with rain and dances and all of us being a part of each other and amazing grace? This is a question for Neil Douglas Klotz, the scholar of Aramaic, the language that Jesus likely spoke in his everyday life. We heard from NDK, if I may call him that, as recently as August of last year when I shared a message about John Lewis that included a translation of one of the Beatitudes, "Blessed are the peacemakers," translated from the Aramaic as, "Blessed are those who plant peace each season." They shall be named children of God. I have a visual. Robin Mayberry made that for me after she heard that message, and it's been in my office, looking at me ever since. Plant seeds of peace. And we know, and we talked about how Aramaic can give us that earthy sense of what we know is intended. Dipping back into the Aramaic, prayers of the cosmos, meditations on the Aramaic words of Jesus. This is the real book. Thank you, Linda Wisnett. Neil Douglas Klotz is here to help us with that cosmic, earthy connection to the Lord's Prayer. A more expansive and more accurate translation of the original Aramaic. So let's think about accuracy a little bit. Like Hebrew and Arabic, the Aramaic language has different levels of meaning. The words are organized and defined by a poetic system where different meanings of every word are possible. So every line of the Lord's Prayer could be translated into English in many different versions. We could dedicate a lot of time to this. But I'm going to give you one possible version from all the possible versions that NDK gives us. The Lord's Prayer. O birther, Father, Mother of the cosmos, focus your light within us. Make it useful. Create your reign of unity now through our fiery hearts and willing hands. Help us love beyond our ideals and sprout acts of compassion for all creatures. Animate the earth within us. Animate the earth within us. We then feel the wisdom underneath, supporting all. Untangle the knots within so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to each other. There's that mending heart again. Don't let surface things delude us, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. Out of you, the astonishing fire, returning light and sound to the cosmos again and again from each universal gathering of creatures, nations, planets, time and space to the next. Amen. This is a prayer that dissolves divisions, breaks through boundaries, and connects us to the planet and to each other, and even to the disparate parts of ourselves. This is a prayer that includes raindrops and dreams and dances of world peace, all of us being part of each other and the amazing grace that we carry. These words come from the mouth of Jesus in the Gospels of both Matthew and Luke. And the story of Jesus of Nazareth, along with these words, exemplifies someone who feels a connection with the natural world, animate the earth within us, who spends time in the wilderness among temptations or surface things that delude us, and who moves through that experience to live a fiercely purposeful life, pushing back on the corruption of political and religious empire. His revolutionary spirit insists on breaking down barriers and lines of separation, rejecting the status quo, and lifting up connection with the cosmos. His revolutionary spirit insists on breaking down barriers and lines of separation. And this part of Jesus' journey launches after undergoing his own spiritual awakening in that wilderness. An awakening that one can imagine broke down barriers within himself, inspired his vision of mystical and radiant connection, and put him to revolutionary work. Jesus had keen insights into the corrupting influence of power. And if he existed here and now in bodily form, what he would have to say about these subjects would be as shocking now as it was then. Charles Taylor describes the porous self, which is one that has permeable boundaries in a healthy way. No firm wall between the inner life and the world outside. Meaning, grace, beauty, sorrow can cross into you from elsewhere. Taylor calls this self vulnerable, and he means it as a description, not an insult. You are open to forces you did not generate. When joy arrives, it visits you. When suffering comes, it is likely coming from somewhere larger than your own circumstances. When purpose emerges, you are deeply called. You do not have to manufacture meaning. It flows through you. The alternative he calls the buffered self. The buffered self is sealed. It is the self we have trained to become, the one who tracks her sleep, optimizes her morning, journals her gratitude, and audits her own progress at the end of every week. This sounds like self-care, and in some ways it is. But it also means that the entire weight of your life is yours to carry, alone, with the tools you happen to have. The buffered self is self-made, and it can be very, very tired. Meaning is something this self has to generate from inside its own walls. A porous self is not completely boundary-free. It is cognizant of work-life balance. But it is also open to joy, open to God, to others, to feeling fed by the world and everything in it, that radiant connection that Jesus personified. Here and everywhere, we can feel that connection. We can break down the barriers that separate us and the barriers that dilute the light, that astonishing fire that we all carry. Don't let surface things dilute us, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. Untangle the knots within. Unclench. Free us from our egos, from guilt, from consumerism, from society's labels, from gossip, from bombast, from distractions, from insecurities about being asked to pray out loud by someone in need. Open up to that freedom and let it flow, tuning into the still small voice that is the constant presence of amazing grace and radiant connection. Breathe in the silence and open to the meaning and true purpose that emerges. Let's settle now into waiting worship where we listen for that still small voice.